Yesterday we talked about those super important hormone substances we call prostaglandins. Those little guys are responsible for pretty much everything that happens in the body, for better or worse. Deficiencies in prostaglandins, imbalances in prostaglandins play a role in most degenerative diseases, especially when it comes to autoimmunity and heart and brain issues. Skin issues can also involve prostaglandins, particularly eczema and psoriasis. If you have any of these health challenges, you gotta make sure you're using your Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids and Ultimate EFA Plus, and the Ultimate Enzymes are probably a good idea too. One of the most important roles for the Ultimate EFAs involves the gallbladder. If you eat fatty foods and have pain in the upper right-hand region of the abdomen, or in the center of your abdomen, or maybe between your shoulder blades, or in your right shoulder area, the chances are pretty good that you're experiencing gallbladder issues. And as it turns out, prostaglandins play an important role in gallbladder health, and the gallbladder is actually a major source of prostaglandin production. And this is why the best way, or at least one of the best ways, to protect your gallbladder, to prevent stone formation, and to keep your gallbladder in your body and out of the operating room. There's 500,000 gallbladders that are yanked out of people's bodies every year. One of the best ways to keep your gallbladder healthy is to take 3 essential fatty acids, 3 ultimate EFAs or EFA plus capsules 3 times a day. That's 9 capsules a day. And that's likewise for autoimmune diseases, lupus, scleroderma, multiple sclerosis, and for all female health issues too. The Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids, the Ultimate Essential Fatty Acids Plus, are like a treatment for PMS symptoms, for endometriosis, for cysts, and for fibroids, all of which involve prostaglandins, and all of which involve essential fatty acids. There's a particularly important essential fat when it comes to prostaglandin synthesis. It comes from omega-6 fats. It's something called GLA. You'll see it listed on the supplement facts on your Ultimate EFAs and on your Ultimate EFA Plus. The Ultimate EFAs have 4 milligrams of GLA per capsule. There are 19 milligrams of GLA in your Ultimate EFA Plus. The best source of GLA is going to be borage oil, and that's what Dr. Wallach formulated the Longevity EFAs and Longevity EFA Pluses, Ultimate EFA and Ultimate EFA Plus with. GLA is particularly helpful for skin issues. I've been using it for many years in skincare products. If you have eczema, psoriasis, acne, you'd be well advised to get yourself on 3 Ultimate EFA Plus capsules every day, 3 times a day, 9 capsules a day. GLA is also active when it's applied directly onto the skin. As I say, I've been putting it in skincare products now for many years, and it's particularly helpful for eczema problems and also for psoriasis. You can break open a capsule, you can stick a pin in a capsule, squeeze out the Ultimate EFA Plus. There's a little bit more in the EFA Plus than there is in the EFA. You can squeeze it right on your skin rash or on your eczema directly. You can even put some on your face as an anti-aging and anti-wrinkle treatment. In fact, the nutrient content of the Ultimate Essential Fatty Acid and the Ultimate EFA Plus is, in my opinion, a far more effective topical anti-aging product because of its nutritional value, because of its GLA, and because of its EFA content. Your Ultimate EFA capsules are a much more effective topical anti-aging product than almost any of your fancy schmancy anti-aging products that you buy in a department store, and they're a lot cheaper too. And of course, they're multifunctional as well. GLA's prostaglandin boosting properties can have some other significant health benefits. Remember, prostaglandin deficiency is a really significant health issue, and it's associated with a lot of health challenges, especially in terms of the immune system and the autoimmune diseases. Diabetes, digestive health issues, those also sometimes involve prostaglandin deficiency. Same with kidney disease, and same with Alzheimer's disease and other brain health issues or movement disorders. Think Ultimate EFAs, think Ultimate EFA Plus. If you're on aspirin or Motrin or the so-called NSAID drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and COX-2 inhibitor drugs like Celebrex, all of these can have a negative effect on prostaglandins, on the manufacturing and production of prostaglandins. In fact, most of the notorious side effects that's associated with these types of drugs, especially those involving the kidneys and the digestive tract, are a result of prostaglandin suppression. So if you're on aspirin, long-term aspirin, even baby aspirin, or if you're taking Motrin on a regular basis or Celebrex on a regular basis, it becomes extra important to get on the Healthy Start Pack. It's important for us all, but if you're on a drug, if you're taking a nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drug, or really any drug, it becomes extra important that you're on the Healthy Start Pack, and most especially the Ultimate EFAs and the Ultimate EFA Plus. They'll help protect you from side effects, and because of their beneficial effects on prostaglandins, they'll allow you to lower your dose, and you can wean yourself off your meds much more easily. Interestingly, even though we talk about omega-6 essential fatty acids a lot, something called linoleic acid, that's your omega-6 fatty acid, as it turns out, it's really GLA that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to the benefits of your Ultimate EFAs and EFA Plus. Long story short, you guys, no matter what your health condition is, no matter what your health challenge is, there's a nutritional supplement that you can use to reduce your symptoms and reverse your degenerative disease, whatever that may be. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, 888-379-2552, toll free. We're going to take a break and come back with more good health information right after this. Don't go away. I'll be sitting in for the next 45 minutes with my good friend and colleague, Douglas Winfrey. Hello, Doug. Greetings.
Greetings. Great to have you on as usual. Got a story out of the New York Times here that's headlined, The Expanding American Waistline. And apparently Michelle Obama's efforts to make America thin haven't really been working out too good, because they say the average waist circumference, not the BMI, increased significantly in the U.S. between 1999 and 2012, according to a new study. And the lead author is Dr. Earl S. Ford, a medical officer with the CDC. He says, I would encourage people to keep track of their waists. They say the abdominal obesity, or beer belly or beer gut, is caused by fat being around the internal organs, and one of the indicators of the metabolic syndrome, a group of 5 conditions that raises the risk of heart disease and diabetes. The overall mean waist circumference increased to 38.7 inches in 2012, and that's up from 37.5 in 99. They say it was significant for men, women, non-Hispanic whites, non-Hispanic blacks, and Mexican Americans. Were greatest among non-Hispanic whites in their 40s and non-Hispanic blacks, black men in their 30s. And they say in 2012, 54.2% of Americans had abdominal obesity, defined as an age-adjusted weight circumference of more than 40 inches for men and more than 34.6 for women, compared to 46.4 back in 99. So in a 13-year time period, it increased almost 10%. This was all published in Journal of the American Medical Association.
40 is huge, Douglas.
Yeah, I've been there before myself. And I remember kind of feeling a little depressed and bummed out when I had to go from 38 to 40. It was just going out of the 30s into the 40s. I just kept thinking, when is this going to stop? And then a few years later, I became convinced that I probably had a gluten intolerance problem based off some of the things I was hearing Dr. Wallach talk about. And so I put myself on a gluten-free diet about probably getting close to 5 years ago now. And within the first 2 months, I dropped like 40 pounds without even trying, because I stopped eating, stopped drinking beer and stopped eating breads and pastas and that kind of thing. I wasn't really sure what I could eat, so I knew I was safe with meats and vegetables, and it happened to be at a time of year where here in California a lot of the crops were coming in, so there was an abundance of fresh produce available at the farmers markets. And so I just started eating a lot of salads with some grilled chicken or something, and it's amazing how much weight you can lose if you just stop eating crap food.
Now, did you notice that you had to withdraw, or you went through withdrawal symptoms?
Not really. There were certain things, like I really like sandwiches, so I kind of was bummed I couldn't have sandwiches any longer. And I tried eating a hamburger once using lettuce.
And it wasn't the same?
No. You put a hot hamburger on some lettuce, and you have wilted lettuce with grease running down your arm.
So what did you do? You just
I just stopped eating that stuff, and then as time went on, there's more and more gluten-free products that are out on the market now that are actually fairly tasty. Some of the early stuff, the breads are often very crumbly and they fall apart, and so it makes it hard to eat a sandwich unless you grill the bread or something. And so, but I'll give credit to the food industry; they're kind of jumping on board like they did with non-trans fats a few years ago. As food companies now see this gluten intolerance thing, or the being able to slap the gluten-free label on their products as a new marketing tool.
Remember fat-free?
Yeah,
remember the fat-free thing?
It's the same thing.
Deal. Yeah,
I used Chex as a good example. They've even got a television ad out now where they're talking about it being gluten-free and all this stuff. It never had any gluten in it in the first place. They just jumped on the bandwagon. But,
Chex,
it's good.
Chex didn't have gluten when it was made?
Not corn Chex or not rice Chex,
So now they're all about gluten-free now, just to cash in, right?
Exactly.
That's interesting. But it's interesting that you lost all that weight without even trying. I love that because it should be easy. It shouldn't be difficult to lose weight. Here's one of the biggest problems people have when they're trying to lose weight. I think we may have talked about this yesterday. I don't remember. If you have toxins in your body, if your body's protecting itself from some kind of toxic poison that's getting into the system on a regular basis, it's going to be much more difficult to lose weight. In fact, that abdominal fat that you were talking about, that's a classic sign of toxicity. In addition to blood sugar changes, of course, and problems with specific foods, you might want to think about poisons that are getting into the system, either food additives or even prescription drugs. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program. We got lines open for you at 831-685-1080 or toll-free, 888-379-2552. If you want to get on board, got questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, or the longevity products, we can help you. We're going to take a break and come back with more good health information on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program right after this. This link between prescription drugs and toxicity in general is very, very underappreciated. This link between prescription drug toxicity or overall toxicity and abdominal obesity. If you're one of those people who can't lose weight around the middle, the chances are pretty good you're dealing with some kind of toxicity, and the chances are really good that you're dealing with toxicity if you're on a prescription drug. We are overdosed America. How many prescriptions do you think are written in the United States every year, Doug? Take a guess.
What was that again?
How many scripts do you think prescriptions are written every year in the United States?
Oh, gosh, it's got to be maybe in the millions, maybe even a billion.
Yeah, 4.5 billion. And that's as
there
of
you
2011.
Go. Well, that explains the CDC statistic that your average 75-plus-year-old in this country is taking at least 5 prescription drugs daily.
That's obscene. That's obscene.
And, somebody's got to be taking more than that because people like Doc Wallach aren't taking any at all.
That's right. If there's 4.2 billion scripts written every year and 300 million Americans, you're talking about...
What's a dollar amount on that? Do you know?
Got to be close to $800 billion, something along those lines.
Maybe
scripts
even a trillion.
Could be pushing a trillion. Scripts are, not only are they obscenely expensive, but golly, when you start taking these multiple prescriptions, that's called polypharmacy, by the way, there's no possible way anybody can interpret or figure out what kind of toxicity you're getting by the interaction of the drugs. Drug companies are responsible for checking for toxicity and poison reactions with their drugs. A certain amount of side effects are tolerable, but if some drug creates a lot of side effects, then it's not going to get released. But nobody ever checks for polypharmacy. Nobody checks for the side effects or toxicity associated with multiple drugs. And in fact, that's the main reason why I quit doing pharmacy, standard pharmacy anyways, because I noticed that the folks who were getting the most prescriptions were the old people and the really, really young people. Those are the folks who take most of the prescription drugs. And that means they're taking multiple drugs. It was not unusual for me to be in my counter. Any pharmacist can tell you this, by the way. It's not unusual. It wasn't unusual for me to be behind my counter and have somebody come up to the counter and just drop a plastic bag filled with bottles, filled with 10 or 12 or 15 or even 20 different prescription bottles, and just have me fill them, and then they'd be...
How do you suppose that occurs? Is it because they're going to multiple doctors and the other doctors don't know that...
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. No. I mean, that's part of it for sure, but no, for the most part, a major part of that is one doctor prescribing lots of medications, because doctors are bamboozled into believing, hypnotically entranced by drug companies in medical school to believe that this is the way you deal with illness. And it's not the way you deal with illness. You don't have to be, if you're a doctor maybe, or if you've been hypnotized into believing that the pharmaco-medical model of drugging us to protect us from the symptoms of disease is appropriate, well, maybe that's understandable that you practice polypharmacy. But for an average person, when you think about it, how does it ever make sense that one drug, let alone multiple drugs, can do anything to make you better, can do anything to make you feel better? Now, I'm not talking about pain pills, and I'm not talking about antibiotics. I'm talking about the kind of medications that most of us are taking for chronic degenerative diseases. There's no way, friends, no way on planet Earth that these things can make you better, and there's a heck of a lot of ways they can make you worse. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today, along with Doug Winfrey. Our number is 831-685-1080, 831-685-1080, or 888-379-2552, toll free. We're coming back with your phone calls right after this on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program on the ZBS Radio Network. Time for my favorite part of the show, Douglas. Let's talk to the people.
All right, let's head to Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And Bill, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's up, Bill?
Hey, how are you today?
What's going on? How can we help you?
I have a couple of questions. First one concerns my daughter.
Okay.
She's been diagnosed for 5 years plus with something called idiopathic hypersomnia.
Oh, I love that. Idiopathic. Hypersomnia, did you say?
Right. She
falls
has
asleep?
no trouble sleeping. She just has trouble staying
asleep.
awake.
Yeah, you know what idiopathic means?
It means they don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. They have no idea why she's falling asleep. I love these names. I love these diagnoses. So she's got hypersomnia. That means she falls asleep. She's not a narcoleptic, is she?
No. She's
just tired all the time.
Yeah, she's been through sleep studies.
Okay, here's the deal.
The only time she seems to get relief is when she takes some kind of antibiotic.
Okay, well, an antibiotic gives her relief from the hypersomnia?
Yes.
Okay, hypersomnia is just fancy schmancy Latin talk for she's tired a lot, okay? It's very common. Tiredness is kind of a general symptom. It's a general symptom of a body in duress. Now, there are mental issues, depression and things like that, and I'm going to assume that she doesn't have any of that going on, but from a physiologic perspective, hypersomnia, feeling tired all the time, excessive daytime tiredness, from a physiologic perspective is a sign that the body is in duress. You know what I mean by that? It's being burdened by something. And so we got to ask, what are the burdens? Well, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of burdens on the body. Number one, you got nutritional deficiencies, and that's very common. Number two, you got toxicity. That, unfortunately, is very common. And by the way, sugar counts as a toxin. And number three, you've got a lack of oxygen or some kind of oxygen problem, suffocation. So what do you do? Well, first of all, for the oxygenation, you're going to feel tired if you don't have enough oxygen. So make sure she's sitting on the couch and practicing slow, deep breathing techniques. Step number one. Number two, if she's got any kind of toxins that are getting into the body through the digestive system, in other words, if she's got food intolerances, food allergies, that can put a burden on the system. And so you're going to want to control for that. You're going to want to eliminate foods that cause any kind of digestive distress, bowel movement problems, gas, bloating, anything along those lines. Gluten is always going to be an issue. Sometimes eggs or dairy can be a problem too. You've got to see what her particular issues are. And the best way to do that is to look for digestive symptoms and then link those symptoms up to specific foods and then eliminate those foods. In addition, patching up the digestive tract is important. Think Biolumin Nightly Essence. 3 capsules in the morning, 3 capsules at night. Think Fucoidan Z, which coats the digestive tract and speeds up healing of leaky gut syndrome, which is very common. 3 or 4 capsules a day, perhaps. And then using the ultimate enzymes after all meals with a little bit of apple cider vinegar is probably a good idea, and it wouldn't hurt her to throw some fermented food into the mix, sauerkraut, miso, tempeh, that kind of stuff. And then there's the nutritional deficiency component. Vitamin C is very, very important for detoxification and also has some energizing properties. Vitamin E is also important. The whole Healthy Start Pack is going to get you the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. Have her sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That's very important. And then also pay attention to blood sugar issues. If she has long-standing digestive problems, she may have some blood sugar issues going on too. And if her insulin is super active, and that's kind of a pre-diabetic condition, that can cause low blood sugar, and that can also lead to hypersomnia, excessive tiredness, if you will. And so keeping her intake of refined carbohydrates, flours, breads, pasta, rice, fruit juice, desserts, and all those kinds of foods, keeping them down to a minimum is also going to be important. And then make sure you're throwing in a little of that Sweeties, which helps her insulin work and helps her blood sugar metabolism get straightened out. Sweeties product, 2 or 3 capsules after every meal. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it very much. And I hope we helped you out. Okay, our number is 831-685-1080 or 888-379-2552. Got a couple lines open for you. We'll get to more of your phone calls when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben, along with Doug Winfrey, sitting in for Dr. Wallach today. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program. Douglas, $325.7 billion a year spent on prescription drugs as of 2012.
Wow. I need to invest in some drug companies.
325. Holy cow, $1/3 trillion in drugs. And the profit margin, oh my God, the profit margin on prescription drugs. You know, when you buy a bottle of, say, a 10 milligram or 100 milligram prescription drugs, say 100 pills, what are you getting? 100 times 10 milligrams? What does that come out to? It's like 10 grams or so, right? Or not even. It's a gram of medication. 1 gram of active material to 10 grams of active material for sometimes $1,000. $1,000 for a gram of active material. The package costs more than the active material.
What are the raw materials that they use to make most drugs?
They take fossil fuels, they take oil derivatives, and they tweak them and do organic chemistry with them in big factories in India and China.
Where do they get that from? Is that like a
oil?
So they buy it from the oil industry?
Probably, yeah.
So it's like raw materials that are left over from when they produce fuel and things like that?
Exactly.
And they buy it for what, pennies on the ton?
Pennies on the ton, exactly.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Yeah, exactly. Wow. I think pharmaceuticals may be the most profit-intensive business that there is. I can't think of one that's more
health
more
insurance.
Profit margin. Yeah, maybe health insurance because they don't have any products. They just take the money with no product. Anyway, if you're on a prescription drug, folks, let us help you get off your medications and get on a good nutritional supplement program. We'll do it today. If you're on drugs, we can reverse that. If you have a degenerative disease, we can help you reverse that as well. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552 toll free. Who's next on the line, Doug?
All right, let's head to Minnesota. And Charles, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
What's up, Charles?
Yeah.
Greetings. How you doing, man?
Yeah, greetings. I listened to Dr. Wallach on Benny Hinn's show, and I agree with him. Now, I'll try to get some facts out here. As my wife, she's got pain all the time for 6 years. She started out with uterine cancer. They operated and took it out. Then they gave her chemotherapy. Then they gave her radiation. Then she had a brain tumor, which was not cancerous. And then they gave her steroids for that.
Oh, my God.
Now she says she's got fibromyalgia and there's constant pain. She's got migraine headaches.
That's awful.
Can't lose weight. She weighs about 330.
Oh, geez.
She's tired all the time.
Okay, I don't need any more because I'm going to get depressed. So let's just handle this, okay? Let's cut to the chase here. You ever hear the saying, the longest journey begins with a single step? That's what we got to do here, okay? You know, I hate to cook, and one of the reasons I hate to cook is because I hate washing dishes. After I cook a meal, there's a whole pile of dishes in the sink and on the counter and on my bar and on my table, and I feel like going to bed. But if I just wash one fork at a time, I pick up a fork and I wash it and I put it in the dishwasher, and I pick up one spoon and I do the same thing in a cup and a plate. Pretty soon, the whole kitchen is clean, and that's how you got to look at health challenges when you got so many of them. You know, otherwise you're going to be like I am when I look at all the dishes and I want to just hide under the covers. You know what I'm saying? You got to do one step at a time, one move at a time, one fork
Well, our main
at a time.
thing is that pain.
Okay, well, listen, dude. Your wife has been through the mill, okay? Her body has been through World War III. So, of course, she's going to feel pain. So we got to fix the situation, and we got to do it step by step. You can't handle the whole thing all at once. First step, we got to get to the core of the digestive problems. She has to have had long-standing digestive issues. So you're going to want her on, well, first step, you want her on the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody gets the Healthy Start Pack. Sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, using the OsteoFX, or the Beyond OsteoFX, once or twice a day, and then using the Ultimate EFAs. In her case, I'd be using 3 capsules in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, and 3 at night, and I'd be taking them with the Ultimate enzymes. That's first. Secondly, we got to get to the core of the digestive problems, and I know she's got to have constipation, long-term constipation. Probably had it for decades. No? Are you serious?
No.
Or runny stool, or loose, or diarrhea, one or the other.
I know. She's on the phone. She'll tell you.
No, just fine.
You can't. It can't be. You got to look closer. You're missing it. It goes under the radar. This is very interesting, by the way. When we have long-standing issues, and by the way, there's no way to have long-standing health crisis without an underlying digestive problem. But here's the deal with digestive conditions. They sneak up. They go under the radar. We don't notice them. But it's not possible to not have a uterus and to have a central nervous system problem or a benign tumor without having a digestive condition. And if you can't find it, you can't fix it. So we got to find it first, and then we got to fix it. So get yourself a little notebook and start writing down everything you eat, and then write down how you feel afterwards. Bloating, gassy, heartburn, whatever. And you're going to be surprised what you find out. Simultaneous with that, you're going to want, with keeping track of everything, you're going to want to get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Everybody needs the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Digestive issues or not, but especially if you have long-standing health challenges. Long-standing health challenges. And by the way, fibromyalgia is a classic, listen up, It's a classic sign of what's called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis means messed up gut bacteria. And fibromyalgia is a classic manifestation of dysbiosis, messed up gut bacteria. You can rectify that with the Biolumin Nightly Essence. I'd be taking 3 capsules 3 times a day, but whatever you decide to do, make sure you get on that. You might also want to make sure that you're using the Z-Radical or the Fucoidan Z, which can help coat the digestive system and is almost like an all-around panacea. It's good for everything. It's good for the blood, it's good for the brain, and it's also good for the digestive system, and it's also anti-cancer as well. In fact, the literature on the Fucoidan Z for fighting cancer is mind-blowing. Anybody out there listening, get on, who's interested in checking this out, get on Google Scholar, or actually scholar.google.com, and that's a website that just gives you scientific information, and Google Fucoidan and uterine cancer, or Google Fucoidan and cancer, and you'll see you get tons of literature. So the Fucoidan Z product would be great for you, in addition to the Healthy Start Pack and the digestive enzymes, and also the Biolumin Nightly Essence and the digestive enzymes after all your meals. Ma'am, what's your name, ma'am? I'm sorry? Therese, hi. When you have a whole spectrum of health challenges, it's not possible for the digestive system to be the only system in the body that's not affected. In other words, when you have a problem in the brain, a problem in the female reproductive system, a problem with overall pain, a problem with fibromyalgia, it doesn't even make sense to say, oh, well, the digestive system is the only system that's working fine. Do you see what I'm saying, ma'am? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, so the problem is it's sneaky. Because when we have these problems all our lives, and probably you have had them all your life, you sound like a young woman, so to be this broken down at a young age means you must have had it long standing. And most Americans have digestive issues, 80 million plus. That's 1 out of 4 at least. And so, especially if you have these kinds of this kind of bodily breakdown. But the thing is, when something happens over and over and over again, the brain just kind of puts it on the back burner because it's more concerned with things that are surprises, things that are novelties, not things that happen over and over and over again. So, got to get to the root of that, and that's what I would be doing if I were you. And God bless you, ma'am. I know that's got to be hard for you and your family. God bless you. I hope everything works out. Thanks for your call, too, Therese. Okay, let's see who's next on the line.
Let's head to California. And Kay, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Greetings, Kay. What's up?
Hi.
Kay. Hi, Kay. How you doing? Kay, are you okay?
I have arthritis and allergies,
Okay.
and I had sepsis about 3 years ago.
Got it. Okay. Allergies, sepsis, and arthritis. Well, let's talk about sepsis first and foremost. Sepsis is the fancy doctor way of saying dirty blood. All right? If you go to a doctor, he'll tell you, well, you know, sepsis is a life-threatening condition because bacteria get into the blood and it threatens your life and it happens right before you die. And if you have sepsis, you got a big-time emergency. And that's true. However, there is something called subclinical sepsis. And that's sepsis or dirty blood. That's not life-threatening, but it's just causing a lot of problems, including arthritis and including allergies. So your sepsis, the dirty blood, that's really the core of the problem. And even though you say you had it a couple of years ago, I would suspect that there's still some problems percolating in there as well. Arthritis is a sign of an immune system or a defense system response, can be, and same with allergies. So something is getting into your body that's sparking this defensive response. And unless you're an IV drug user or you're breathing in super toxic air and you have respiratory problems, chances are pretty good that you as well are having something getting into the system through the digestive tract, through foods, that is aggravating stimulating, I should say, the immune or the defensive response, and that can also be causing the sepsis. So hang tight and we'll tell you what to do about that. We got to take a break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 831-685-1080 is our priority line number, or 888-379-2552 toll free. You're listening to the Dead Doctors Don't Lie radio program on the ZBS Radio Network. All right, we're back on the Dead Doctors Don't Lie program. We're talking to Kay about allergies and arthritis and sepsis. Kay, are you there, ma'am? Okay, sweetheart. Here's what you need to do, okay? The dirty blood is probably at the core of the problem. And it's not unusual that dirty blood would cause allergic reactions and ultimately would cause the joints to start to break down. But until we clean up the blood, it's really not going to be it's going to be very difficult to take care of the other problems, put it that way. So we got to clean the blood, and that means we got to stop the source of poison. We got to cut the poison that's getting into your body at the source, and that means food. So number one, you got to, just like when I was talking to our last caller, You got to focus on the foods that cause problems. That means you got to find first of all, you got to find the problems. You got to notice bowel movement issues or bloating or discomfort. And as I was saying earlier, they go under the radar. So you got to pay close attention and then link those up to foods. That's the first step always when you're dealing with multiple symptoms. Find digestive problems, link those to foods, and then eliminate those foods. The second thing you're going to need to do, ma'am, is you're going to get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence probiotics. They also have some enzymes in there, too. Love that Biolumin Nightly Essence. And take 3 capsules in the morning and 3 capsules at night. That's 6 capsules a day. Of course, you're going to be on the Healthy Start Pack. You're going to sip on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Probably a good idea to get on the glucogel caps also, and then the digestive enzymes. One of the neat things about Youngevity's Ultimate Enzymes is they're anti-inflammatory, and they'll relieve pain, and they'll also help improve your toxic blood as well. So using the Ultimate Enzymes after all your meals, and then maybe taking a couple of them in the middle of the day on an empty stomach, that can help with pain relief, and it can also help you with the inflammation that's associated with the arthritis. Lots more you could do, but that's a great place for you to start. Number 1, look for problem foods. Number 2, get on the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Number 3, make sure you're on the Healthy Start Pack, sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Number 4, get on the glucogel caps. And number 5, make sure you're using the Ultimate Enzymes after all your meals and also between meals on an empty stomach to help with inflammation and pain. And then last thing, if you want, and I would recommend that you do, get on that Z Radical or the Fucoid Z. Take 3 or 4 capsules every day. Wonderful for pain relief. Also has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and can help you with your digestive system. And God bless you, Kay. I hope everything works out for you. Okay, let's see if we can get one more phone call in, Doug.
All right, let's head to Pullman, Washington. And Cindy, you're on with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs.
Hey, Cindy.
Hi.
Hello. What's up?
Yeah, I'm calling for my friend Debbie. She has bleeding ulcers, low red blood count, and she calls it a hilactal hernia. Okay. And the doctor wants to put her on omeprazole.
Yeah, well, because that's what doctors do. Omeprazole is not going to do anything for her bleeding ulcer. That's silliness. So what you got to do is, first of all, she's going to have to really start to restrict her calories and make sure she's getting as much liquid nutrition as possible. She's got to reduce the load on the digestive system, and I know of no better way of doing that than to start sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. And I say sipping. This is very important. If she takes it all at once, she's not going to get the benefit, and she may end up getting a little bit of loose stools. Have her sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in addition to using the Healthy Start Pack. She should also be on the Fucoid Z. Probably 3 or 4 capsules a day. That's going to be very important. We got to get to the core of what's messing up the digestive system. And it's always going to be some kind of food. A Biolumin Nightly Essence is going to help there as well. But it's always going to be some kind of food. So we got to figure out what food she's having problems with. And once again, by isolating the problems, by noticing when she has digestive issues, aside from the ulcerations, and by the way, the low blood count probably has to do with bleeding. Once we can figure out what kind of food she's having a problem with and then eliminate those foods, she's going to notice a lot of relief. In addition to using the Fucoid Z, that can help coat and soothe the ulceration and help coat and soothe the entire digestive tract, the small intestine that is. And then might not be a bad idea to start using some Ultimate Enzymes after all her meals, in addition to making sure she's on the Healthy Start Pack, sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Make sure she sips on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Last but most certainly not least, in addition to getting her as much nutrition as she can in a liquid fashion, and that means the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and also vegetable juices, also smoothies, things that are pre-digested for her. In addition to doing all of that, simply by restricting the amount of food that she eats, restricting the amount of work that her digestive system has to do, that's going to improve her health a lot. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening, friends. I hope we helped you out. I'm Pharmacist Ben, for Doug Winfrey, for Dr. Wallach, for all the folks at the ZBS Radio Network. Have yourselves a wonderful, spectacular, beautiful day. We'll talk to you all later. Bye for now.